Attention passionate Kansas City CHIFS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Kansas City Chiefs' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Kansas City Chiefs fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Kansas City CHIFS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying close attention to what's been happening around Arrowhead Stadium lately, you already know that we are entering a very critical phase in the Kansas City Chiefs offseason. It's that time of year when the roster battles heat up, and every single snap in training camp and preseason can mean the difference between a spot on the team or a trip to the chopping block. And one player who's been under the microscope lately is cornerback Joshua Williams. He's been a steady contributor since he joined the team in 2022, but with all the roster shuffling and new additions, his future with the Chiefs isn't as certain as it once seemed. This is the NFL, after all. The league is arguably the biggest numbers game in sports, and roster decisions often come down to the dollar signs, the cap space, and the strategic needs of the team. The Chiefs, in particular, have been meticulous in how they approach their roster construction, especially on defense. Last year, they made a significant investment in rebuilding their secondary, devoting half of their draft picks to defensive backs. 4 of those players from the 2022 draft class are now entering the final year of their rookie contracts, which means their salaries are starting to look a lot more expensive relative to their production. That's where the crunch begins, and Joshua Williams, who's earning a non-guaranteed $3.4 million salary, is now squarely in the middle of it. You see, Williams, despite his solid performances, especially in 2022, has a salary that's disproportionate to his role. His contract isn't guaranteed beyond this year, and with the Chiefs having added more talent to the cornerback room, the competition is fierce. Earlier in the offseason, it was noted that Williams earned a pay raise due to his high snap counts last season, especially during the playoffs, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's safe. The Chiefs traded up in the draft to select Noel Williams, a talented corner out of California, and also signed veteran Christian Fulton in free agency, adding more veteran depth to the position. Plus, they re-signed Nazeeh Johnson to a reduced contract, which guarantees him a decent chunk of change in 2024, further complicating Williams' situation. And here's the thing, Williams has no salary guarantees in 2025, and his cap hit for this upcoming season is a little over $57 million. That might not seem like a huge number, but in the NFL, where every dollar counts and roster spots are fiercely contested, it's enough to make him vulnerable. When you combine that with the team's recent draft moves, the signing of veterans, and the overall depth at cornerback, it's clear that Williams is on the bubble. Jared Sapp, an analyst from Arrowhead Pride, pointed out that Williams will have an opportunity during camp and preseason to prove himself, but unless he's willing to take a pay cut, his chances of sticking around in Kansas City are slim. In the NFL, especially in a team like the Chiefs who are always looking to optimize their roster, that kind of math often works against players like Williams. Without a reduced salary or a standout performance in the preseason, it's very likely he could be traded or released after the preseason wraps up. Teams with a pressing need at cornerback, like the Miami Dolphins, who recently parted ways with Jalen Ramsey, could be very interested in a talented player like Williams. At just 25 years old, he's still in the prime of his career, and his experience with 2 Super Bowl-winning teams makes him an attractive commodity. Now, let's talk about Williams himself. Drafted in the 4th round in 2022, he's appeared in 60 games for the Chiefs, including playoff appearances. That's quite an achievement in just 2 seasons. He's been a reliable rotational player, often the first corner off the bench, and he's held his own in coverage. He's also started 12 games, which shows the coaching staff's trust in him when called upon. But it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Williams has struggled with penalties, accumulating 13 flags over 3 seasons, and his consistency has been questioned at times. More concerning, according to Pro Football Focus, was his missed tackle rate, which was around 19.4% in 2024, an area he clearly needs to improve if he wants to stay relevant in a league that values physicality and reliability in the secondary. And let's not forget, the NFL is a league where durability and versatility are highly prized. Williams has had his moments, but with the addition of Noel Williams and Christian Fulton, along with Nazeeh Johnson's improved contract situation, the competition is only going to get tougher. The team is clearly looking to optimize its roster for the upcoming season, which means that players like Joshua Williams will have to battle harder than ever to secure their spot. If he's willing to accept a pay cut, he might still have a chance to stay in Kansas City, especially given his talent and experience. But the smart money, at least for now, points towards a potential trade or release, especially before the roster cut deadline hits in late August. Now, speaking of potential trades, the Chiefs have options. The Dolphins, for example, have shown they're willing to make moves to bolster their secondary after trading away Jalen Ramsey. Williams could be a perfect fit for a team that's looking to add a talented young cornerback without breaking the bank. His cap hit is relatively low, and his experience in high-pressure situations gives him an edge. But he's not the only team that could be interested. Other contenders looking to bolster their secondary depth, teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers or even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, might also come calling if the price is right. It's a fascinating situation that highlights how roster management is always a balancing act in the NFL, especially for teams with Super Bowl aspirations like the Chiefs. Since being drafted, Williams has played in 60 games, and his contributions go beyond just on-field performance. He's been part of 2 Super Bowl-winning squads, which speaks volumes about his experience and the culture of winning he brings. He's a player who's shown flashes of potential, especially with his speed and coverage skills, but he's also had moments of inconsistency that have made him a bit of a roller coaster for fans and coaches alike. His penalties and tackling issues are areas that he needs to clean up if he's going to have a longer-term future in the league. That said, his youth and the fact that he's already experienced playing at the highest level make him an intriguing trade piece for teams looking to add a reliable cornerback without a huge salary commitment. One thing is for sure, the Chiefs are not going to just let him walk for nothing. They have a lot invested in him, and if they decide to move on, it will be because they see a better value elsewhere, whether that's through the draft, free agency, or trades. It's a strategic move, and like all NFL front offices, the Chiefs are always weighing the present against the future, balancing cap space, player development, and team needs. The upcoming weeks in training camp will be critical for Joshua Williams. He'll need to show growth, eliminate penalties, and prove that he can be a consistent force in the secondary. If he does that, he might still have a future in Kansas City. But if not, don't be surprised if he's wearing a different jersey come September. Now, as we look further into the season, it's important to remember that the Chiefs' Super Bowl window isn't closing anytime soon. They've built a roster that's talented, hungry, and driven by a winning culture. Patrick Mahomes continues to be at the forefront, orchestrating one of the most explosive offenses in the league. But the strength of that team has always been its defense, especially its secondary. The cornerback position, in particular, has become more vital than ever, given how offenses have evolved with spread concepts, quick throws, and the need for versatile defensive backs who can cover multiple positions and make plays on the ball. The Chiefs' coaching staff, especially defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, has shown a knack for developing young players and getting the most out of their secondary. But they also know that roster decisions are part of the game, and sometimes that means making tough choices. Joshua Williams, at this point, is in that precarious position where he needs to prove that he belongs, that he can be a key piece in the puzzle moving forward. And with the upcoming NFL season approaching fast, every practice, every preseason snap will be scrutinized. Of course, the narrative isn't just about Williams. It's about the entire secondary and how the Chiefs plan to defend against a league that's becoming increasingly pass-heavy. The addition of Christian Fulton, a veteran with playoff experience, and the drafting of Noel Williams, who has the physical tools and college production, show that the team is serious about shoring up their coverage units. But at the same time, it's a reminder that roster spots are finite and competition is fierce. All of this ties into the bigger picture of the Chiefs' quest for back-to-back Super Bowls. They've been on an incredible run, led by Mahomes, but success in the NFL is never guaranteed. Injuries, roster moves, and even player development can shift the tide quickly. That's why every offseason, every training camp is so crucial. The players who step up now will be the ones who help keep the Chiefs at the top of the AFC. And for Joshua Williams, it's about making that final leap from a promising young player to a dependable starter or at least a trade asset that can bring back value. And now, Kansas City Chiefs fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this situation? Do you believe Joshua Williams still has a future in KC, or do you think the franchise will look to move him before the season begins? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. Remember, the NFL offseason is full of surprises, and sometimes, the most unexpected moves can shape the course of a franchise for years to come. So stay tuned, because I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and insights on everything Chiefs related. Whether it's roster battles, player performances, or game day predictions, you can count on us to bring you the best coverage. Thanks for sticking around, and let's keep the passion alive for our beloved Kansas City Chiefs.